I'm a lifelong fan of wonderful things that don't seem to get the accolades they deserve. For example, the British band, Elba, or the British film, Son of Rambo, or the non-British baseball player Stephen Kwan. I'll have to admit, sometimes it's tempting to keep the fondness to yourself. Part of the thrill comes from feeling like you've found a hidden gem, but this is a false assumption. It's way better to share. If you put other people onto a band you like, it's both helpful to them and the band. You do want that band to be able to make a living so they can keep making music, right? Anyway, when it comes to destinations, I've decided to be like the Baltic Knights at the Fat Margaret Tower and to stop gatekeeping. I'm in the city of Tallinn, Estonia, a place whose identity seems to blend the wonders of yesteryear with the best of today's technology and livability. Honestly though, half the fun was getting here. Estonia is incredibly accessible from Helsinki. All it takes is an affordable 2-hour ferry ride, which in itself is an experience. Alright, I've only been on this ferry for like 4 minutes, and I've already decided this is one of my favorite modes of transit. I love the Washington State ferry, like it's great and everything, and this so puts it to shame. Right now I'm basically in this lounge and cafe section. It is happening here. There's a group of tourists singing for some reason. There's a bar in full service, which might have something to do with the singing tourists. And yeah, we haven't even checked out the rest of the space yet, which has a play area, a viewing deck. I would be fine if this trip took longer than 2 hours, honestly. Since I'm taking this trip with my 4-year-old, it's worth noting that this was the most kid-friendly mode of transportation I've ever seen. We had a whole playroom on board, with CCTV, so I could enjoy refreshments while keeping an eye on him. Best believe we spent most of our time taking advantage of that setup. So we arrived, and the first thing we did was get settled into our accommodations. Okay, we just arrived in Tallinn. Reese and I are staying at a spot that we rented, and y'all have to see this guest house I found. It's got character. Okay, so we open the door here. Reese, you want to go on ahead? First thing we see is a tunnel. Ooh, that looks like a cool woodsy painting. I wonder if there's any more to the painting.
Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, let's go here.
Okay. At least it's not anything too spooky, am I right? Okay, so Reese is leading us to this open space. Okay, we're walking in here now, and ooh, mushrooms. Okay, the rest of it feels much more normal, and actually kind of cozy. It just has an interesting personality, that's it. I know I'm going to appreciate this. Little terrace out front. You know my balcony rule of traveling with kids? Balconies are awesome because it can give you a space where you're still out and connected with the city after bedtime when you technically have to stay in. Now that that's out of the way, how about some time to explore town? from a distance, I've always suspected Estonia was a pretty cool country, keeping a low profile. And so far, that checks out. So Estonia is a pretty small country. There's only about 1 million people who live here, but about half of those live right here in the capital of Tallinn. Modern Estonia, at least, is a pretty young country. It only gained its independence from the Soviet Union in 1991. However, the Estonian identity is actually really old. The Estonians are some of the oldest known inhabitants of Europe. Through different periods of history, there have been periods of Scandinavian rule, German rule, Russian occupation of this land. But it was really in the mid-1800s that Estonian identity really became a thing. The Estonian language is pretty unique. I'd say it's hard to learn because when you only have about 1 million people who speak it, you're not going to have an easy time finding people to practice with, especially if you're outside the country. We just got in, so we've been spending our night exploring, looking around Tumpi, Old Town, getting a bit to eat. It's been a tiring day though, so we're going to turn in early, get some fresh energy, and explore quite a bit tomorrow. I think if there's good food in the area, it's got to be around here. So, people say that the best way to see Tallinn is to explore the city center, especially Old Town, and just free wander. After a cozy night and then starting our morning slowly, checking out an Estonian bookstore, we were ready to explore the town. Well, at least I was ready. Reese spent so much time reading these books that I'm surprised he's not literate in Estonian right now.
Oh, Daddy, this page is about bodies.
Yeah,
Oh, this one too.
the body and feelings.
He's so funny.
Eventually, we made our way to the Nihilistic Cathedral. Nihilist, if I understand the interpretation right, is Saint Nicholas.
Daddy wants to watch the elevator.
Oh, that is going high. I guess a big thing to do here is to go up the tower in their glass lift, so we're going to try that in a bit. Church was cool, but when we made it to the top of the tower, the views were, as they say, immaculate. All that exploring and spiral stair climbing worked up an appetite. And in central Estonia, as a visitor, that means there's one place that's a must-do. We're at Old Hansa. Old Hansa is a throwback, a period piece, a restaurant meant to take you back in time to, I don't know, I'm not exactly great with dates here, sometime when eating looked a lot like this. So this place builds itself up as the most authentic medieval dining experience ever. It's probably a bit touristy in the medieval times sort of way, but it does have medieval times beat. It's in an actual old medieval city after all. The fact that it's inspired by its surroundings gives it some bonus points here. You know, I bet there probably are a few ways you could make this more authentic, but in ways you wouldn't really want to. Like, I don't think food handling and sanitation was great in the medieval times. Everything here is lit by candlelight or lantern. The menus look like this, and the atmosphere is pretty immersive. So I decided to order a platter of game meats. Not my usual order, but it just felt very spirited.
But my pound cake is bigger than as much as your food is.
I know. Okay, let me see if I remember everything. I got hazelnut bread, lamb sirloin, or deer sirloin with a horseradish cream. This is a liver pate, pickles and sauerkraut. That's a jam, and apparently the pate and jam go well together. Another cream cheese with a rye bread. I have no memory. Oh, that looks like tongue jelly. We are not that far from Scandinavia after all. And then 2 quailed eggs. She said this one has bone in it. I wonder if this is like Estonian balut. No, it is absolutely not Estonian balut. Oh man. That was lost in translation. It's not even an egg. It's an olive. The bone inside was the pit. So here's my take on Old Hansa. Is it a big tourist magnet? Yes, there's no disguising that feeling while you're there. But it's a worthwhile tourist magnet. It is a lot of fun. The food is legitimately good. The honey ale might have been my favorite part. And the staff? You've got to admire their commitment to staying in character. That's the best part. That is really good. After Old Hansa, we worked our way to a castle and a museum at the edge of town. Fat Margaret, that's the name of the tower, and the Maritime Museum. For reasons I have yet to put together, the Fat Margaret Tower is combined with a Maritime Museum, so we're seeing both of them at the same time. If you were to ask me to describe the Estonian aesthetic, the general vibe, I'd say it's medieval meets high-tech. One of the most outstanding things about Estonia is that it's quite possibly the most digital country on Earth. Wi-Fi is everywhere, and so much of Estonian society is integrated with digital technology. So when Estonia gained independence, it was behind Scandinavia and really a lot of Europe in terms of economics and other measures. But this was also the time when the internet was really starting to emerge, and so by 2000, Estonia made this big declaration. It saw the internet as a fundamental human right. Okay, I'm in the ferry terminal between, about to head back to Helsinki from Tallinn. I'd love to be back someday. I have no idea when that's going to be, but I mean, Helsinki gives me the feeling that I want to be back there at some point, and knowing that Tallinn is a very comfortable ferry ride away makes it seem pretty likely too. And as we set sail back for Helsinki, I just have to say, thank you, Tallinn. What an incredibly cozy and pleasant place to explore with my kid. As I said in most high school yearbooks I signed, we should hang, never change. Your friend, Philippe.